Because we're simple, right? We're just simple people.
We are just simple girls, and one of us is counting Weight Watcher points, and so I can't give those up during the week because I live like a Viking on the weekends with my husband. Gosh, I tell you what.
Like a Viking.
It's true. Okay.
Heave-ho!
It's not flattering at times. It's not.
Ooh, okay. Visual image of you as a Viking is not a pretty thing.
To the 11th episode of Little Did I Know. I am your host, Stephanie Parks.
And I am your other host, Shauna Zolman-Mihaly. Little Did I Know is a place where two friends share our journeys through life, the good and the bad, while never losing our laughter.
If you want to hear more episodes, you can find us at stephandshauna.com or at Little Did I Know on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, everybody, here we go. Our fun fact for the week. I am so excited about this. And from what I know, it has not been leaked in major media yet. And so that's always a good thing for me.
You have like your own personal channel.
I know.
They just funnel it straight to you.
On the Today Show, they always do like a thing at 8:00. And I'm like, that is going to be me one day. Like, I am going to do that. I am. Okay. So, in this world that we live in, sexy drives the train, right? Like it's sexiest man, sexiest wife. They even say like sexy cookware. If you work in the cosmetics industry, everything is sexy. I mean, sex drives the bus. Am I right?
You are right. Sex sells. What shall we say?
It is. It is. So, not to be undone and maybe to top all things, there is, are you ready?
Yes.
There is a new sexy beast in town, and it is the world's sexiest koala.
When I heard sexy beast, I immediately thought of koala.
I know. It says on people.com, it says the world's sexiest koala has the internet all hot and bothered. And I said, tell me more. So his name is Rogue, and he is in Australia. And it says that he is giving the Hemsworth brothers a run for their money.
Oh, I bet.
He poses on trees with a come hither look and a seductive poses.
I want to fly to Australia just to meet Rogue.
Rogue. I think we all need a little Rogue in our life.
I think we all need a little Rogue in our life.
Yes. So,
oh my gosh. If I'm lying.
Leaning between trees, and he's just kind of like sexy.
Oh, please make sure that you put those on the notes for all of us to see.
I am with this post. Like, let me tell you, Rogue is gonna just be the most famous thing ever. Yeah. So.
Oh, you did not disappoint on that one, Steph. Thank you for that. That's a perfect way to start off this episode.
Desperate to not redo so many things from my first marriage, I stepped into my new marriage like a boxer entering the ring. I was anticipating the blows, and I had my fist up. This time around, I wasn't going in naive or weak. This man who had captivated my heart showed me with a rare gentleness that we were in fact on the same team and has patiently loved me, which brought down all my defenses.
Marriage the second or third or fourth time around definitely comes with a playbook of past experiences, but believe it or not, it still doesn't show up with a how-to book. Like we said in previous episodes, we are by no means experts in this field. This conversation's intended to be an encouragement and a glimpse into what we know so far. But this podcast has roots right here. The little did I know. Starting over requires a strength and a vulnerability that requires a healthy headspace, a tender heart, and a tenacity that you have to fight the good fight for. So in this first of remarriage, Steph,
okay,
we did the first of singleness, we did the first of dating, and now we want to enter into, as you said, the last of the firsts series, let's talk about remarriage. I mean, we heard your love story last episode, right? Of how you quote unquote accidentally met Tom.
Here we are.
Heyo. But if you would, to start off the meat of this segment, just share your love story up to the engagement part. What did that look like for you guys?
Okay. So I shared on a podcast before this when we were talking about dating, and I would step into dating and would have conversations or whatever, and then something inside me would just go into panic mode. I don't know if you've seen Inside Out, the Disney movie Inside Out, and it's about all the emotions inside.
Yeah.
I had all of those emotions like on DEFCON 10. Like it was and so like a warning, and then it would just shut the place down. And I really, like, just a side note, I should have went to that movie by myself. I was not prepared for how it triggered so many things inside of me. And
did you lose it with all the kiddos?
I did. Yeah. And I mean, at this point, they were so used to me being super emotional at Disney movies. And so they're kind of like, oh, that's what she does. But I really needed to go and just do a better evaluation of that, because I was like, that's really super real. So I would have that emotion, everything would shut down. And then, I would say, for 30 days, like I would go off the internet. I would say, don't call or text me. I mean, I pretty much went into this like moment of, I simplified my life. I walked as much as I could on my trails and just needed to get things back right, because I just wasn't ready. So when I was making these notes, I was like, you know what? Thomas never had a 30-day pause. He did.
Lucky guy.
There's something about that. And secondly, our dating to engagement to marriage was really quick. Mm-hmm. So there's parts of that in there too. But one day right before I met Tom, I was walking my trails, and, the trails are my sanctuary. It's just my place. Like I really and truly cannot, I've missed them so much with winter being so hard here. I cannot wait. And I think I can get out there this weekend. So I'm excited about that. But I really have said those trees and those paths, they hold all my secrets. They hold all my fears. They hold my tears. Like it is that kind of place. And so it has different elevations, and I was walking up this to the highest point, and there's a park bench there. And sometimes I'll sit there. Sometimes I'll just walk by and just kind of tap it as like, hey, you know what? We're doing good. Here I am. And then sometimes like I will literally sit there. Like I've had somebody come up and ask me if I was okay because I had sat there for so long. And I went up to that place, and at that point, my breathing's all good. My head is cleared out, and I really am just like pouring it out. And I felt like the Lord said to me, say it. Say everything. Tell me all about it. And I just said, you know what? I think I do want to be married. I think I do. And like Tom wasn't in my life yet at that point, but I was like, you know what? I do. And I'm tired of being alone. And this is sad and it's hard. And I just kind of said everything. And I heard him just when I talk about like I hear God speaking, it's just like this whisper in my heart. Mm-hmm. It's just something that comes over. It's so familiar. I know it to be not of my own thoughts. And so I just heard him say, stop doing what's breaking your heart. And I was like, okay. And I was like, yes. And I'm so done being in that broken place. Yes. Okay. And so walked along my trails, all of this and that. And, in a progression of time, like I was traveling a lot with my job, Tom and I decided to meet. And, I told you about our first date. And what was so cute was we went on our second date within that 24 hours. We were like, I like you. Let's do this. And so we both were road warriors at that point. And so we would meet back together. We would chat on the phone or text or whatever. And then on Fridays, he would be in town, but every other weekend I had my kids. So it would just kind of be like again, off to the side or whatever. And then one weekend, I don't even know how it happened. He just showed up and my kids were there. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, somebody met my kids, which, just
Sure.
didn't happen. And so just some real sweet things in my heart would really beat funny with him and just this tender spot. And so I decided at that point, I was like, we're going to have to figure this out because I'm not going to mess around in my head. And like, I'm not going to do something that's going to hurt me because, I'd heard that earlier. So I told him it was a weekend when I didn't have the kids. And I said, here's what I need you to do this weekend. I said, we are not going out to dinner. We are not drinking. We are not doing anything. We're going to be sober mind, sober body, sober everything. And I need to figure out if this is worth my time. I need to figure out if I'm worth your time. And so here we are. Bring 5 questions and that you want to ask of me that you don't know of me. And I'm going to do the same. And he said, yes, ma'am. And he's this retired Marine and has some rough edges and which is so attractive to me. And this man came in his suit from his business meeting and he looks so handsome in a suit. Like it's just, oh my gosh. And he brought this leather notebook and he wrote out 21 questions and he left spaces for the answers.
Wow.
And I was like, who is this? And this is super attractive. I had 5. And I mean, my 5 were heavy hitters. It wasn't like, what's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite color? Do you like sunrises or sunsets? It wasn't any of that nonsense. It was like, here you go. Tell me the truth. And, here we go. So now I'm going to tell you a couple of the answers were really honest and like, whew, okay, I had to absorb that. And then the question that really stumped me the most was, this man does not like cheese.
Say it ain't so.
I was like, wait, like all cheese?
That's what tripped you up. It's the cheese.
I know. And one of my girlfriends was like, I am so surprised you stayed. And I said, I know. There was a spell on me because I was like, whoa.
Oh my gosh.
So anyways, we did that and he, just asked me some really sweet questions. And what I know of him is, he didn't just want to say he loved me, say he wanted to do this. He wanted to actually show me. And through last year, the answers that I gave him, he implemented into a lot of life things that we did along the way without fanfare. Like I would just go, he listened. He heard me say that. And coming from a past where I would say, I lost my voice. My space became very small and very muted. To have somebody willingly listen, willingly have those places, and not say like, "Oh my gosh, you're too much. This is over the top," or whatever. That
because you feel that, don't you? Like you already feel that in your own self. It's like, man, I know I'm a lot. So then somebody else makes you feel that even more. That's just an overwhelming emotion that I can't handle.
It is, and it's something to where I'm like, I don't know how not to be me. That's just me. And you shouldn't. And so he just absorbed that in a really sweet way. And so one of the fun things that he did, which, if he's listening to this, I'm fine if he wants to bring this back. But I used to get flowers delivered every Friday. And we called it Flower Friday. And he sent me, like, one time I had a bouquet of flowers that was like Mia Bella, my puppy. White carnations. And I was like, how did you do this? And so, I mean, just sweet things about that. And so we got engaged on my birthday, which was very sweet and just, amazing. And then we got married March 2nd. So, it did go a little quick. And then we had the real wedding in September. So there's a little bit of that.
That's good. Yeah. Well, mine is just, I just feel like it's so hard. I feel like everything is just so hard. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean like the whole process was awful. And I don't want to just highlight the things that were awful to make Antoine look like an absolute bag of turds.
Right.
But I'll preface it with this. Antoine and I were and still are in very different places of life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that. I'm sure a lot of couples, a lot of friendships, a lot of sibling relationships are just, they're there where it's a different stage of life. It's difference in maturity, a difference in emotional awareness, social awareness or intelligence. It's a difference in life experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was swept off my feet by this guy who I thought was way out of my league. And it surprised me because I didn't think that would be possible. So for me, leading up to this point, like I said last week, I was okay to be alone. I had no desire to get married again. I really had no desire. I had no I had no want to continue to work at something that was so hard for me to heal from. And then I met Antoine. And then I'm like, what the heck? And this just, to me, this was God's way of saying, I love you too much to allow you to stay hurt and broken where you're at.
Yep.
I love you too much to do that. And so this is going to be very hard, but I want you to become whole again. And not that I don't love you as you are because you are perfect in my sight. Not that,
Right.
But become whole and renewed from the hurt and the damage that was caused.
Yeah.
And he used and is using Antoine to do that because I can keep people at a distance. And friendships don't hurt the way that a relationship hurts because you allow them in, and no brainer. So after Antoine and I met in San Antonio, we started this dating process, and we were very blessed because he had a buddy that worked for Hawaiian Airlines and gave him a buddy pass. So that meant he was able to fly from Hawaii to Seattle every month for like $80. You just pay taxes for it. You know, if we didn't have that, there's no way this was going to work out. And so luckily we had that blessing that he could come once a month to Seattle and get to know each other. And he did probably the best I've ever seen with anyone that I know of, of really bringing in my friends and my people that know me best. So he would like stay with them. He would bring all the questions, to me, but more so to them because they would give him an unbiased viewpoint of me. And he just was very intentional on getting to know me and my character and my morals and my integrity and who I was. Because he also, I think, just kind of to your point of the question piece, when you had those 5 to 21 questions for Tom.
Right.
Antoine came with those questions specifically about my divorce because he wanted to know the exact reason of it. And he wanted to make sure, even from his standpoint, that this was something, like you said, that it wasn't just good for me, but is it good for him? Like, is this something that he believes in? Is this something that he wants to pursue? And so I can, without question, be over the top thankful, of somebody that took the time and the energy and the money to put into pursuing after. On the flip side of that, it wasn't real because when he traveled to Seattle, I basically put my life on hold for the time that he was there. Everything stops. You're on vacation. When I went to Hawaii, I'm going to paradise and I'm just hanging out on vacation with them, so it's not like you don't get the real life experiences, the real dating.
You're not talking about taxes and the cleanliness of things and, like cleaning the garage and
air quality,
car
weather, and
right?
gas prices are not part of your problem. Yeah.
No.
So I got this. I fell in love with him, no question. I knew I wanted to, if I was going to get back into a relationship with anybody, it would be Antoine. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Antoine or bust. That was kind of my motto. And so
Maybe that needs to be your next tattoo.
It should be. Oh. So fast forward we're almost engaged. I knew he was going to ask. I knew something was up. People were acting strange. He's asking questions, the whole 9 yards. I know he's about to move to Seattle. But there was some information that came out about him, to my knowledge, that really brought me, it was my breaking point. And it was at that point where it took me to a 3-week long intensified counseling treatment center that forced me to look introspectively and really start doing the work that I needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Antoine, but mostly it was what I needed to push me over the edge to get going on it. And if I didn't do that, there'd be no way that I would be remarried. If I didn't do that, there'd be no way that I would be continually, I'm not going to say healed, but continually on this journey of healing.
Yeah.
And he actually came with me to that. And so there was even like that beauty in communicating daily and having him see what it looks like for me to be in trigger mode, having him see what it looks like to the depths of the hurt that I've experienced. Like having him experience that with me was huge. And when we got back, that was in April, and the following June, he moved to Seattle and we got engaged. And again, beautiful, beautiful thing because he brought in my friends with it. He made this entire elaborate video. He surprised me. And it was a great redo, of even the engagement piece because it's just such a sweet time for anybody, right?
Of course.
But it was just the start, honestly. It was the start of this long journey of one, realizing that there's so many triggers that just keep coming up of hurt. But then also just the realization of how different we really are and the difference in the places in life, in the spaces in life that we are. So that really, honestly, it's a good thing, but it also is just the beginning of something extremely hard for me.
So the question I want to ask you then is during like this phase, what do you wish someone would have told you before you stepped into it?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I wish somebody, I don't know that it's somebody didn't tell me. I wish I would have owned being patient. I think I was trying to fill a void. I think I was trying to hurry up in this process and just say, I know this is the guy, so I'm just going to get married and we can figure it out as we go. As opposed to slowing way down and getting to know him better. Because like I said, he moved to Seattle, boom, we got engaged. 6 months later, we were married.
Right.
And even in that 6 months, it was all wedding planning, which I loathe. So it wasn't really a real taste of who he really was as a person, where he's really at as a person in comparison to where I'm really at. So if I could do it all over again, I would have waited. And I would have allowed more time for us to experience life together in the same city and more time allowing for growth on his part and healing on my part.
Okay.
If I could,
that's good.
If I could reciprocate that question to you then, like what would you wish someone would have told you?
I think for me, I have said this 100 times, but I am such an overthinker and a mind battler that I wish that I would have had somebody, like daily saying, get out of your head, get out of your head, get out of your head, because I create scenarios. I have arguments. I go to the what ifs and all of those kind of things. And that steals away from me presently enjoying my situation.
Yeah.
And so I wish during that time, there was so many things coming at me that I was feeling and then fighting. And I wish that I would have just been more out of my overthinking mode. Yeah.
That's good. Let's move on to the next question of this. If we could just kind of naturally progress and evolve into the first year. Let's just go straight to the first year of marriage. What was that like for you? And what was your little did I know wisdom that you would like to share in that specific first year of marriage?
Yeah. So when we moved out, it was myself and my 2 little kids. So just Tucker and Tate. That's all we've done. That's all we've known. And then all of a sudden, this man shows up where a man had not shown up in our lives. It was us. And then all of a sudden, Tom is here. And so when one of the things was Tate and I, when Tate is at my house, I mean, she has her room. It's a beautiful room. It is. But we just hang out. Like, we like being with each other. We'll watch a movie. We'll read a book, whatever. But we had stayed in the same bed. Like, we just did. And wasn't a big Tucker would come in my room. I'd scratch his back. Like, there was a lot of that kind of, that's just how it was just mom's room, you know? And so the night that we got married, Tatum said, so is he going to stay at our house? And I was like, he is, which is one of the reasons why we did decide to get married, first, earlier, was because I wanted to live that life. I wanted to live the same life that I talked about in front of my kids. I wanted to live that same life when they weren't around. Like, I wanted that piece of integrity and the truth of how I said what I believe in and how I want to live my life. I wanted to honor that. And I didn't want to be like, hey, actually, guess what? I'm going to change the rules. I wasn't going to do that. And so, so I told Tate, I was like, he is. And she said, well, where is he going to sleep? And I was like, well, that's a great question. And I said, you know what? The plan is in my room, which will become our room. And I said, but if you aren't ready for that, like, he can stay downstairs tonight, like whatever that needs to look like. And she's like, okay, so I'll just sleep in my room then. I mean, it was just like, you know, and I'm like, okay. And so that was such a weird thing. And I tried. And again, this is when I was in my head a lot too, but like, I tried to create this like safe place, because all of a sudden here I am, I have this 12-year-old who wakes up with a man at her house, you know? So, I mean, all of those things. And if anybody knows me, like, I am mama bear to the extreme. And so, you know, just all of those things. And he was super respectful of that. And so again, we are weekend home together couple. He travels through the week. And so parts of that has allowed me to stay in lots of good routines with my kids and now just Tate. And so like, we still have our special time, but again, it's made this transition interesting too.
Sure.
And so I feel like, I mean, I was thinking about this. I did not even think, honestly, like, it did not, as much as I overthink, you would think there would have been something of that in there, but I did not even think about giving him a drawer in my dresser till like a month. And I was like, would you like to have a drawer too? And he said, I know, I swear, if I'm lying, I'm dying. He goes, you know, that'd be real nice. And I was like,
just one though, just one drawer.
That's right. So pick out which one, but not this one or this one or this one. And, so like, it was so weird. So it really wasn't until we moved into our home this summer that it became ours. I feel like he moved into my stuff, to my house, to my life, and it was still mine.
Sure.
And so I feel like that, I wish somebody would have just said, this control that you fought real hard to get a hold of in your divorce and in this reconciling of your life, it's pretty extreme at this point. And I didn't know it. I didn't realize that I was really super tight-fisted to a lot of things. And so having to transition to that, I wish, my little did I know was he didn't need to come into mine. We needed to come into it together. So it needed to be in ours pretty quickly. Yeah.
I would agree with that. Totally. And I probably experienced that as well. Mine would be, a lot of people go through premarital counseling, which I think is needed, but I think postmarital is more important and utmost importance. And again, kind of realizing the differences of places that we are, the differences of life stages that we were in, coupled with the fact that he had an accident before our wedding going on dirt bike rides that he's never been on before, for his bachelor party. So I thought that was a good idea. Ended up dislocating his knee. Like he couldn't even straighten it. He couldn't walk. He had to be helicoptered to hospital. Like crazy stuff. Which in and of itself, it's a bummer. But like if any other situation would have been in hand, I would have been like, hey, no problem. Like we'll get this fixed. I understand because I'm a thrill seeker. Like I'm like twice the thrill seeker that Antoine is. So like I kind of was actually surprised he wanted to do it. But this stage, it started our marriage off so far behind because taking that scenario for what it was, but transferring it to me of where I was. Like it wasn't until a month before the wedding that I was even excited about getting married. Like a genuine, wholehearted excitement. That was the first time that I really experienced it. Was literally a month before the wedding. And then that happened. And it made me feel so defeated and so rejected in that, because the wedding day for me, I know it's a beginning. It's not like, oh, we made it. It's a beginning of a lifetime. And that also represented so much more to me because of the work that it took for me to even desire to get to that point. And something that was so precious that was literally stolen from me. Like that day held so much gravity and magnitude. And I felt like that was again stolen from me because of that. Because there's a lot of things we couldn't do. There's a lot of things that the joy was stolen. And a lot of people were forced to do different things that they weren't supposed to do because he couldn't do it. Or we couldn't go on our honeymoon. We couldn't adventure out like while we were staying there in Hawaii. Like there was a bunch of things that were just stolen. And then it just naturally stayed with us, into the first year. And so it's not that we didn't go through counseling. We did, but that is just a continuing process that for me just magnified the differences in stages of life. And I don't want to come across as a Debbie Downer on this. I'm just trying to be real of the second time around isn't always awesome. And the second time
it's
around
still hard.
isn't always better.
2 is not the magical number.
No, it's not.
No,
so, and
hard.
I don't mean that either as in like we don't have our great times and that I don't love him, because I do. And there are many great things that we have experienced and joys in the first and even second years of marriage. But to sit here and say how awesome that it is, I would be lying through my teeth. And he would agree. Like, this is not just a one-sided thing. So I guess the message that I want to get across and portray is that, one, it's just as hard, if not more difficult. 2, seek continual help in counseling and with people that have your back as a whole. Like, this is the other thing is I have my people that I go to. I'm challenging him and hoping he has his people he can go to. But those people need to be people that are for you all as a couple. Not just for him, not just for me.
Absolutely.
And being able to have that backing to continue to push you towards each other. Like you all are in a covenant. We are in a covenant. And people need to push us back together when there's dissension. And that's probably been the best thing over the past couple of months, really, that we have going for us. It's just people that literally have our backs and just say, you are wrong here. And you need to ask for forgiveness, and this is what you need to do. Like, that type of stuff is really good for us. But, whew.
So, Shauna, one of the things that we really, when we sat and we talked about creating a podcast and what did we want the feel of it to look like and really what did we want to convey? Yeah. And you and I both said, we have had lots of opportunities that we have been able to speak very broad. Like we've been able to speak to large gatherings, right? But the thing that connects our hearts mostly is, what are you doing face to face? Who is that person that you're sitting across from? And so that's the thing that we've wanted to make it feel like on this podcast is we're having a cup of coffee, or again, if it's happy hour, we're having wine or whatever. But if you could sit today with one of our listeners, any and all of them, but just one-on-one, face-to-face, what would you say to the woman who's about ready to step into the season of her life? Like, what would be your wisdom?
I would say patience. I would say patience with yourself and patience with that other person, whoever that other person is. Self-awareness is your best friend, and being able to realize the stage where you are in and being able to understand where the other person is in, not right or wrong, it's just where you are. And I think being patient to know the magnitude of the decision of getting into marriage is no lighthearted matter. So be patient with where you're at and make 100% positive sure that it's the right time and it's what you really want to do. And one of the best pieces of advice and questions that I was given during this time was this: if he or she never changes from this point on, would you still want to marry them? Because unfortunately, guilty as charged on this, but unfortunately a lot of us go into marriage wanting to change the other person and thinking that they're going to change into this ideal fantasy person that you've created in your mind. And that's not right, nor is it fair. Like, they're their own individual. They have their own DNA, their own identity. And yeah, there's going to be a natural evolution of change as you live together, as you love one another, as you seek to serve one another. That's going to be a natural change. But if you're out to change them because you don't like something about them,
right,
that's not okay, and that's not right. So I think that's what I would ask somebody at the other end of the table on our coffee or happy hour break. It's, if you were not able to change this person, if this person never changed from to date, would you still want to marry them?
That's good. Yeah. Okay.
What would be your piece of advice?
I would want to ask her, what is she doing for herself? Like, have you cared tenderly for yourself before you jump in and add to anything that you're doing? Like, have you taken time out to figure out who you are again, especially coming from a divorce, coming from a trauma, coming from a change, relocation or whatever that is? Get your footing of who you are first.
Yeah, agreed.
So find that strong, confident voice. Honor that person who was wounded or silenced or, whatever, uprooted, whatever that is. Honor that person inside first.
I love that.
And really, then you can step into things healthy. Yeah.
Totally agree. That's good stuff.
Okay, so Shauna, a couple great things just happened. We just wrapped up our second series with all the emotions, all the feels, all the transparencies, all the honest words. We did it.
We did it.
Yay. So we did it.
This is great. What a great day.
What a great day. And so the way that we do things is, now tell me, this week, where are you winning and where are you losing?
I am winning this week, Steph. In one of our posts, my favorite organization, business, whatever you want to call it, they liked one of our posts. And I have full intentions on wanting to get a sponsorship from He Is Greater Than I.
I love it.
Love He Is Greater Than I. So we're winning because they reached out and they liked some of our stuff. So I'm stoked about that. When you sent that to me,
need to go to Hawaii and go visit them.
I know. Yeah. You sent that to me, I squealed like a little stuck pig. I was just so excited. Where I'm losing, I'm just going to make a blanket statement and just say this season of life sucks. I'm just losing. But I'm not going to let it get us down.
Right.
I can.
That's right.
But we shouldn't.
For sure. Right. Beth Moore a long time ago said, don't wallpaper the pit. Like, don't stay there long enough where you start decorating it. Like, the job is to always get out.
That's right. We're not wallpapering anything because, one, that's 90s. Two, I don't want to do the work to undo it. And we're moving on.
Actually, if you watch Fixer Upper with Joanna, it's not 90s anymore. She's bringing wallpaper back.
That's because everything for the 90s is coming back now.
Yeah.
She's doing it.
So, but we're not going to let you wallpaper the pit.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, friend.
Yes.
How about you? Tell me where you're winning and where you're losing.
Okay, so I am not sure. I turned 45 in January, which 45 is really the new 23, right?
Is it?
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it.
I mean, in my world, okay? But I don't know where I started talking and the weather rules my life so much. I am like 69 years old all of a sudden. And the weather, like I'm like, I don't know, it looks like a chance of rain. I probably should stay in. I do not know where it has consumed me. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you my win right now was we're getting spring.
Yay.
Like there's blooms on the trees, full sun. I mean, I think I even said this earlier, but I think I'm gonna get to my trails this weekend. And I got to sit at the fire pit one night and one morning. So the weather is
that's
changing.
Soul filling.
It is. And I have got to get out of this little hump of like talking about the weather so much because I'm like a granny. I don't know what my problem is.
You're not too far gone, and don't become don't be scared until you start adding in the gas prices into that. Just keep it weather. You'll be good. Start talking gas prices. We need to start worrying.
Like you punch me really hard if I start doing that. Like where it hurts. Like
I will.
In my filler or something like that.
Oh, your ovaries. Your ovaries are gone. I'm going to nail you in your
dried up. Yeah. Ovaries don't hurt me anymore.
They're dried up.
Yeah. So where I am losing, and I know it trails back into this whole weather situation, but
gas is $2.79.
Tom's dog, the dude, is shedding like there is another animal living on top of him. Like the amount of dog hair it's about to have me lose my bananas. Like I can't. I went to the gym the other day and had dog hair on me and it looks like I just rolled around with it for like 30 minutes and then decided to go to the gym in public. Like I don't live my life like that. You should see this giant lint brush. It has an extending brush to it. It is industrial. Yeah. I lint people off with it. I just can't. I can't. So that's where I'm losing the dog hair.
That's a valid one.
Oh, it's making me lose my craziness. Okay. So because, we're 10 episodes in and word's getting out that little did I know is a thing. So it's becoming a household name. Like I said, like Oprah, like Louis Vuitton.
Your household name goes to Louis Vuitton.
Yeah. So this week, what is your little did I know?
I've got a good one for you. Little did I know how much laughter truly does help. It truly is, not to take the place of real medicine, but truly is the best medicine. And I specifically mean it with this company's billboard sign that changes weekly. I love driving by it and reading it because they always have great stuff on it. This week, there was one of those I had to consciously try to keep my eyes open as I'm driving on the road because it made me laugh so hard. So the phrase, ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. So have that and a pint of it like a Viking. So when I'm saying, I started reading this billboard and it starts off with ice cream, you scream. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I just kind of start bobbing my head and getting real happy. So it says, ice cream, you scream, the police come, it's awkward.
That took a turn.
It sure did. I just started laughing at the drop of the hat. I'm like, that was a good one. It totally threw me for a loop.
Oh, man. I love it. Laughing is, I told you, it is my favorite.
It is your favorite, and it kills some people, but for me, it's my favorite as well. So how about you? Finish us off here with Little Did I Know for this week.
I'm going to tell you this week is little did I know how much I just simply adore being the mom to my daughter.
Oh, I love it.
She is just the best little human. And so I have raised 3 boys, through elementary, middle school, high school. And all of those days, their answer never changed. When I got them from school, when I picked them up, I would say, how was school? And they would be like, school. Every single one of them said that. School is school. And then I'm like, okay. All right. So, Tate goes to her dad's house Tuesdays at 5, and then she comes back on Thursdays at 7. So I only missed 2 school days with her. And so she saves up everything from those 2 days, and she comes home and she talks to me, and she does not forget any details. Like, she tells me everything that happens and the funny emotions and all of this kind of stuff. And she'll even come in the house and she'll be like, I have stuff to tell you. And so we just sit and chat and like have the best conversations. And she's 13. She's not difficult. Like, she's just this really great little soul. And I had already put my notes down on, for, this week's podcast. And when I was opening them up, she had a little note on here, and it says, "Hi, Mom," with a heart on it. Aww. And I'm just like, so my little did I know is this little human girl that I'm so, so blessed to be her mom.
Oh, she's so lucky.
She's a good one. This one is. So we did it.
Great job, my friend. I think we did a great job of the details, of keeping it real, yet keeping it light and still laughing through it. Well done.
Well done to you.
Where can they find us at if they have questions, if they have comments, if they have concerns?
Yep. So a couple things about that is we would love it if you would go where Apple streams their podcast, and that you would rate us, review us, subscribe, and then share. Sharing is caring with that. You can also find us at Little Did I Know on Facebook and Instagram, and stephandshauna.com. And if by chance you're just looking for me, you want to send me something fun, I am Steph K. Parks on Instagram and Stephanie Parks on Facebook.
I'm Shauna Zolman-Mihaly. You can find me there on Facebook and Instagram as well. But thank you so much for joining us on this 10th episode of Little Did I Know. Have a great week, everybody.